What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all doing well out there. It's time for a review of Weapons, the long-awaited follow-up to Barbarian from Zach Cregger. This might have been my most anticipated movie of the year, so it kind of pains me to do this review, and I'm also a little baffled by the overwhelming amount of praise that this movie is getting. And, you know, as always, my reviews are never to change your mind or whatever, but as I was watching this movie last night, I was nearly bored to tears, especially during the last 30 minutes. This will be a spoiler review, by the way. I just can't figure out a way to talk about this movie without addressing some of the absolute nonsense in this movie. So to start it off with some positives, and there are some positives here. Look, Zach Cregger knows how to film a movie and keep an audience engaged. Even mundane tasks like, you know, something like walking through a liquor store. He chooses interesting camera angles and ways to follow the characters. There are some funny moments in this movie. There's some good humor. Like his background as a sketch comedy guy definitely shows here. He understands what funny is. It doesn't always feel forced. There are some decent scares in this movie, but they're more so jump scares. And there's quite a few, the old trope of waking up in your bed and, oh, she's not really awake. Here's another jump scare. They do that quite a bit. Aside from some pretty decent jump scares and some humor and interesting camera work and some decent performances, Julia Garner was better than I thought she was going to be. The non-linear storytelling, the jumping back and forth, following this character, now we're following this character. Visually, it's fun to look at and play the little game of like, oh yeah, we just saw this part and now we're seeing this from their perspective. That works whenever a movie is interesting enough to warrant that gimmick. Obviously, Pulp Fiction was the first movie to pull this off, and it works for that movie because there's an interesting story there. With Weapons, I'm struggling to find what the story is. And this non-linear jumping around storytelling device ultimately hurts this movie because with about 30 minutes of runtime left, we're pretty much shown the twist, if you will, or we're kind of shown like why all of this is happening. And after that, it's like, oh, we still got 30 minutes left. And this epic ending that everybody keeps talking about, it was fine. There was bloody, chaotic violence, but other than that, there wasn't a whole lot to it. I just had so many questions with this movie. And maybe I could forgive some of those lingering questions if the characters in this movie were fleshed out more. But other than Julia Garner, I mean, I didn't really care about anybody else. Even Josh Brolin to a degree, he was just kind of there. So the movie starts off with a huge exposition dump, and anytime that happens, anytime there's a ton of exposition, it's usually a failure to communicate your story in some way. If you have to tack this whole voiceover from a little kid, that the one that we heard in the trailer.
At 2:17 in the morning, every kid woke up, got out of bed, walked downstairs, and into the dark. It's
pretty much laying everything out in the movie instead of letting us uncover some of the mystery. All these kids woke up at 2:17 and they ran off into the darkness. Okay, that's interesting enough, but that's about as interesting as it gets. There's not a lot of mystery to unravel here. I had so many questions after watching this movie. Did Zach Cregger watch Longlegs and say, hey, I want some of that in my movie. Give me an older, eccentric, creepy character to show up and have this voodoo evil element? Whereas in Longlegs, at least they attempt to give you some backstory. Why did the old lady have "I'm offended by everything" bangs? What is this tree that she's cutting twigs from? What is this voodoo she's doing, wrapping hair and personal artifacts into these sticks, and then she breaks the sticks and then the people go crazy and try to kill people? Okay, sure. You don't have to give me everything. A little ambiguity is fine. But when I get the sense that the director doesn't even know what the hell any of this means, I start to lose patience. This seemed like a ton of half-baked ideas thrown against the wall, and Zach Cregger was like, I don't know, you figure it out. How are these children supposed to help this old lady? Like, she does this little spell, she rings a bell with these little symbols on it, which also is never explained, and then they run out of their beds at 2:17 into this basement and they just stand there? What's the plan here?
What would you say you do here?
How are these kids supposed to help her feel better or cure whatever sickness she has? Why 217? Turns out, doesn't matter. Why was there a floating assault rifle with 217 written on it in one of the dream sequences? Is Zach Cregger trying to say something there? Why is it called Weapons? Oh, that's right. At one point, Josh Brolin is like, these kids were weaponized. Okay, if they are weapons, what's the target? If these children are victims, what are they fighting? What is the end goal here? What does any of this mean? Morally, what is this movie trying to say? Does Zach Cregger even know? I highly doubt it. So with all of these lingering questions, it's like, okay, well, what else was there to this movie? Yeah, we had some cool, gory practical effects kills. That was cool. There were some interesting sequences. I like when Josh Brolin was chasing after the guy, running like that. Also, why do they run like that? Who knows? Just add that to the pile. And he gets hit by the car. Like, I like the way that was filmed. Zach Cregger knows how to film a sequence and make it interesting and engaging for the viewer, but I think that his faults lie in the story department. This movie was written and directed by Zach Cregger, and while he's a good director and he visually has some interesting ideas, the writing suffers tremendously. Like, Barbarian worked because it was a straightforward sort of monster in the basement movie. It doesn't deviate too far from that story. But with this, when we are following 6, 7 different characters, I think the cracks in his writing start to show because I didn't really care about any of these characters. Maybe Julia Garner a little bit, but it's going to take more than some gory kills, a little bit of humor, and clever non-linear storytelling to keep me engaged. Yeah, for most of this movie, I just found myself incredibly bored, which I think is one of the biggest offenses a movie can have. I don't need every little thing explained out to me, like, yeah, well, this is why the old lady did this, and she snaps the twigs and from her little magic tree, and the kids, they attack people to help her. It's like, what are we doing? This movie made no sense. I hated this movie. I can't believe I'm saying this. I hated this movie. I am truly baffled by all the high praise it's getting. 5 out of 5 stars, 90-something% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's like, are we just awarding mediocrity at every turn now? I mean, it happened with The Monkey earlier, Final Destination. Like, yeah, while there were some fun kills, like, don't tell me that that's a well-written movie. I don't know. Is it toxic positivity? Is it because people liked Barbarian so much, they just want to say, like, yeah, Zach Cregger can do no wrong, man. He's here to save horror. It's like, maybe, I could see him making more interesting movies, but I honestly feel like he needs to delegate some responsibilities to other people. You don't want to become a Rob Zombie where you try to write and direct everything, even when the issue of writing is glaring you in the face. Or at least that's from my perspective. I'm sure, well, according to every review I've seen, a lot of people are going to disagree with me, because apparently this is like, I've seen some people say this is the best horror movie since Hereditary. What? What are you smoking? Whatever Zach Cregger does next, I'll be there opening night, because I love Barbarian. I kind of see what he was trying to do with this movie, and there's a lot of potential there, but again, I think the writing is just where it falls apart. But I'm glad that Zach Cregger is in the horror genre and he's bringing fresh ideas and perspectives. In my opinion, this movie was a huge misfire. So yeah, there is my review of Weapons. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. Anyways, if you're still watching, hey, thank you so much. If you disagree with me, and I'm sure a lot of people do, let me know in the comments. I'm serious. I keep seeing a lot of people say that, like, oh my God, the tension and the scares. Where? What did I miss? The jump scares that we saw coming a mile away? Other than that, what am I missing? Please let me know. How did people find this movie interesting? It said nothing. But I digress. Thank you for watching the review. Subscribe to the channel if you want more probably unpopular reviews like this one and other stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna go chill out for a bit. But hey, thank you so much for tuning in. I will catch you on the next one.